Hi, my name is Mary Pinder-Schenck, and I lead Oncology Global Medical Affairs at Daiichi Sankyo. I and my team play an important role in clinical trials. And in fact, clinical trials have really been a motivation for me throughout my career. So I started my career as an academic oncologist, and clinical trials were really the ability to make a difference in patients' lives by allowing them to access the most cutting edge therapies that we had in oncology. And as I've transitioned into industry, that excitement around clinical trials and really being able to bring therapies to patients through clinical trials, but also for clinical trials to allow us to change the standard of care. That really is why I come to work every day. Even more importantly, we really help to translate those results from a clinical trial into clinical practice where doctors can help incorporate these new therapies into their practice. We also, in medical affairs, we are really the voice of the outside of the company, and that voice includes patients, very importantly. So we really bring the voice of the patient into the design of our clinical trials, the implications of our clinical trials, as well as bringing the voice of the physician and all the other members of the care team into how we see clinical trials. Everyone that I work with at Daiichi Sankyo has been touched by cancer in some way in their lives, because cancer is just such a common diagnosis. And so all of us really understand what that's like and how important it is to treat that patient as if they were a member of our own family. But I wanted to share a bit about my personal story, because I think that will help show why I'm so passionate about clinical trials. So when I was about 12, my grandmother, who was just a stunning, wonderful woman and the matriarch of our family, died of metastatic breast cancer. And that was in the 1980s. And at that time, there were very few treatments for breast cancer. And in fact, people didn't even want to talk about breast cancer. There was a lot of stigma associated with it. I wanted to be part of improving what women and then people with other cancers had available to them to fight the cancer. And then once I was an oncologist, my mom was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was so gratifying and wonderful to see that, in those 20 plus years between those two diagnoses, all the progress that had been made, so that, my mom's cancer was discovered at an early stage, and she was essentially cured of her cancer with treatment. There is a common misperception, I think, especially in oncology trials, that there are a lot of people out there who are getting placebos and no treatment. The reality is that while there may have been times in decades past where we really weren't sure if a new treatment would be even better than a sugar pill, the reality today is that almost every cancer has some standard of care. Generally, the patients who are in a clinical trial will receive at a minimum the standard of care. And then they may either receive an experimental treatment, which would be a new therapy that is being tested for cancer with very good reasons to test it for cancer, or they would receive the standard of care plus that therapy. And, one of the things that I think is really important that we're brave and honest about is confronting racial disparities in clinical trials. And then I think, really reaching out to other women and tapping into our communities that are diverse can help us to, have that personal touch and understanding, and to really build trust. Trust was compromised in the past. And so I think we have to make that extra effort to build trust so that all patients can benefit from clinical trials.